Well, I don't know if anybody getting on because I already been on, but I'm back. Cause we got one Dark Truth in the house, brother Williams in the. Oh, I got a lot, I got a lot more, bro. Okay. Um, is this the end of hearing? We've always known that listening is a finite skill that probably all of us can be guilty of not possessing. That's right, Erica. What's up, Almighty? I'm back. Um, it's a finite skill listening that uh, not everyone possesses, or we all fall short in that area from time to time. Definitely me. I'll speak for myself. Uh, but just the ability to hear, listening is a. This motherfucker. See, I've been trying not to cuss. If I could yank this motherfucker out of this damn truck, I swear anyway, see, um, fucking, um, this is a prime example right here. This is a prime example because as hearing declines, as hearing declines, the ability to feel also goes with it. That's why people drive the way they do. When you can't hear or your hearing is declining, that's a sense. That's a sensory organ is the ear. And when it starts to decline and function, if you don't have a level of your consciousness now is like a backup generator. Okay? And we can consider just the basic human brain as just your electricity coming in. Man, these people bug in coming in from the city. This traffic gets backed up a little bit and they can't take it. They don't know how to share. They don't know how to compromise. All signs of hearing declining as we speak. So if you don't have the backup generator when the power cuts off, you show. Your consciousness is your backup generator, so to speak. So a great book, well, not a book, a series. I just would not read no lectures. Just when I just heard that the term a lecture in a book, I just for a long time I just couldn't get into it. But I finally checked out something that's worth my while. Rudolf Steiner has a whole bunch of lectures, if you're familiar with him. And a lot of his lectures they publish in books. So there's like this new series of like 5 to 6 books, and it's his lectures. And this particular one is titled Spirit as Sculptor of the Human Organism. Now, Rudolf Steiner you do the history on Rudolf Steiner. Anyway, he writes in this book that each organ has its own consciousness and its own evolution. Okay? And he says that the ear, and there's a lot of other ancient stuff to back this up about the ear. He says the ear once was a vast, huge anatomical structure, and there was no barrier between it like we have now. We have this our brain and all of our skull and musculature and tissue between the ears that didn't exist, and it was vast open space. It said man, every sound in the universe. Now that's far out right there. You know, I mean, you can take it with a grain of salt, whatever. But there's a lot of information that could support that. Okay, and you go to the Greek myths, Robert Graves again. There, when we talk about uh, hormones, okay, there's a goddess and god, and I want to make sure I know Keto is the goddess. I want to say her consort is Phorcys. Now just listen to the name. When you look up Greek mythology characters, their names ways. Okay? So she's keto, as in ketones, and ketones in your body, okay? Ketones are key tones. Key tones to support your brain health, because the keys in your body, and I'm giving you keys right now, the keys are called your clavicles. Your clavicles are these bones right here, okay, that support your shoulders. These are the keys to what? The gate. This is the gate, key to the door. Clavicles. Ketones support brain function. That's another conversation. Okay, so Keto, sea goddess, is married to Phorcys. Keto and Phorcys have 5 children. And so you got to pay attention to recurring themes. In Gnosticism, you have 5 luminaries. You have, in ancient Kemet, you have the 5 children of I think Ra, you know, and it's Osiris, Set, Isis, Nephthys, and Horus. 5. Okay. Well, so let's just say in the body, could it be that the hormones, what came first? The mind influencing the hormone, or the hormone influencing who knows? But I was going to say this, that Keto and Phorcys give birth to one of their children, is called Echidna. Now listen to this. Echidna is spelled Echidne. Echidna. Echidna, we get kidney. Okay? The kidney is shaped just like a baby lying in the fetal position, but it also is the ear, hearing. Okay? So we see this correlation going on here. As we said, everything's connected. So when we talk about this loss of hearing, okay, how it affects this loss of caring, loss of feeling, loss of, you know what I'm saying? We see that if we make these correlations between these different disciplines and ancient texts or whatever, that there's a possible correlation between the kidney and the ear. And the kidney's job is to filter. And if the kidney can't filter, you again have a greater influx of toxins in the body. Oh shit. Influence of toxins in the body if the kidney cannot filter properly. Okay? So, where was I? Let me get back to mine. So he's saying that the ear was shrinking. Okay, for everything that seems like it's all gloom and doom, there's a flip side to it. Okay? Now let's just say that maybe he's on to something here with this kidney. And we're going on some of the other stuff we see in ancient. Let me tell you something else about echidna. Echidna, it coincides very likely, very possibly, with the name of the name for the number 1 in Hebrew. See, Hebrew is something else you want to pay attention to. Be a lot of jewels just in the meaning of a doggone, the meaning of the name. Like, see, in English, we just think that one is just, well, one is one. What Hebrew reveals is that the name of the number is just naming the place. But the actual number, through studying Kabbalah, you see that the number has a function. All the number comes from name. You're naming something. So when we call something one, you're just naming the energy space that contains, you're not describing the actual energy though. Okay? What Hebrew does is, by giving you the Hebraic representation of the number, it gives you the clue. It also, in Hebrew, the names of numbers have a part of speech. Okay? So, I told you we have a kidney, excuse me, I done jumped ahead. A kidna coincide with kidney, coincide with ear. Well, in Hebrew, the name for one is Echad. Echad, for where we get the word ahead. Echad. Echead, I think. Never been a great speller, but I think that's how I spell Echad. Okay? Echad is ahead. So if that coincides with the kidney and the kidney coincides with the ear, then what's the primary function of the ear? It receives a vibration, right? It's a receptive organ. It receives something so it can process, just like a kidney. I hope y'all staying with me. This ain't just making sense. So if it coincides with Ehad for the number one, then it means the ability to hear came before the ability to speak. That's what I'm trying to get to. Stacking all these things up, you figure out what it means in one language. You find a correlative in another, and in another, and then it's like, I'm getting a story laid out for me. So in the Bible, it says in Deuteronomy 6:4, it says, Shema, O Israel. See, we are thinking that creation came about with let there be light. But what would be the point of speaking if there's nothing to hear what is spoken? Just let that marinate. What's the point of speaking without being able to hear? So, Shema, O Israel, is the first command. Okay, get ready, listen, receive, get ready to receive Kabbalah. Receive, get ready to receive. Now here comes the light. Transmit it. Now here comes the Quran. Recitation. Now recite it back. Now this is what I'm building up to. Rudolf Steiner says that as the ear is devolving, the larynx is evolving. And we can kind of see everybody wants to speak out. So-and-so speaks out about cats who have their paws run over by Tonka trucks. But you see, this is what's happening. The ability to recite is supposed to be a divine, transformative process that has gone on, where something has received energy, processed it, and then has created something out of it to now speak. Although there's only one truth, it will speak a new understanding of the truth. Recitation, Quran, recite, Kabbalah, receive, the ear. Our ability to receive is declining. The ability to receive or to hear is declining. But at the same time, again, our ability to speak is increasing. So what's something I can leave you with that just from my humble opinion? I think if you are an awake and alert person in this day and time, it is imperative, and I'm saying this for myself too. Anything I say, I don't look at this like I'm talking to you, like I'm trying to tell you, I got this, and the problem is you don't know. Look, man, we're talking about a collective thing going on here. And I'm just really speaking out collective struggles that I participate in, but I'm fortunate to be able to step back from time to time and be able to analyze, so I don't, hopefully you can get some growth out of things, you know. So I humbly submit that as the ability to hear is naturally on the decline, and look what I got in my ear right here. Look. If this don't prove nothing, this shit ain't healthy. Got a probe up in my ear, and I'm always the last, so I'm behind. Technology now. People walking around. Oh man, this is unbelievable. This right here. This is like a 1980, like a 1991. This car got suicide doors, not suicide, but flip up doors, like on Back to the Future, like the DeLorean. Man, I wish I could show this. If this car moved, this truck right here, when I see these trucks like this, I be on high alert. Like this some this some Waco looking shit right here. But I want to show this car with these. You got to see these doors. The car is not worth the welding that had to go on to make this door the way it flip up. This is unbelievable. The car ain't even got hubcaps all the way around it. If this traffic move, this is some unbelievable shit right here. Damn. Okay, I done got all off. See, that's the devil. Oh man. See, I fell prey. I wasn't supposed to clown this person. I wasn't even supposed to do that. So that's why I'm glad they done pulled off before I could get the traffic moved away. I could show you this 91 Oldsmobile big box with the flip up doors. Boy, I tell you, we are something else. Damn, I done got all off of. Okay, so if you are awake and alert, it's important to really exercise the ability to listen. And I think retrogrades remind us of that. Because for me personally, it's we're dealing with the planet Mercury, and I was born on Mercury's day, and I tend to like to run my mouth and other forms of communication, and I typically feel an inclination to not do a whole lot of talking during that time, and it's not some righteous effort of mine. It's just like a natural clock, like kicks in and it makes me just sit back and do a lot more observing and listening and watching and so forth, and which I think a retrograde is a great time to emphasize learning, But either way, I think it's an exercise that's just good to try to do, period, is just practicing listening and really hearing what people are saying. Not hearing what we want to hear, what we think we hear. Really hearing, because when you really, really listen, you can feel what they're saying. Organ develops this larynx. And that's if we accept what Rudolf Steiner is saying. Let me It's not like he's the authority on this. Look at this. Look at this. You fucking forklift face. If we accept what he's saying about these evolutionary patterns, I sometimes like to just look and see, what does the face of a fool look like? Front of the car all smashed up. I see why. Fucking maniac. If we accept what Rudolf Steiner is saying, that these organs are in these transitory phases, then imagine the better you are with receiving what you gonna have to say. And then what you saying being so powerful that it may not even be understood today, but it'll linger for, because speaking is the equivalent of planting the seed. The tongue is the equivalent of the phallus, the sword. The sword penetrates to plant the seed. So what might come out of this? Taking the time to listen. Got a truck over here. Well, I ain't even gonna go there, man. Get distracted. Peace, Shabs 01. Yeah, Brother Williams. Man, I fell a little short today. If you notice on the first video I did, I worked extremely hard to police my language, and see how I fell short just to these, as my mom was saying, these cush foot MFs cut me off in traffic and stuff. I fell prey, but I do what I can. Peace, Alistair. Right on, Ricochet. What's up, Dap? Yeah, we eating. Got a whole lot of more Clubber Lane. So yeah, that was about it. I just wanted to say that about Nick. Oh, final thing. In the Quran, it's interesting that 366 times, and we're talking about our English translation, so I would like to, I can't read Arabic script, not yet. Let's say that. As of yet, I have not committed myself to learning it. Put it that way. I can read it if I decide I'm gonna learn to read it. As of yet, I have not committed myself to learning it. But in English, I've found that it's referenced 366 times. Now 366 is the number of days in a leap year. 2020 is a leap year. We don't know where we're leaping, and we don't know where we have already leaped. But I don't think that, especially with this time frame, that leap is just not, it's not far-fetched. It's not just a word that we take figuratively. No, I think we're talking about a real leap. We can't really define it. We don't know. So it's a possibility that all these things actually, a laboratory we have is our day-to-day existence. It's the only real laboratory that we have to really see these things, unfolding. But we study, we apply, we study, we apply, so that we can be aware in the and hopefully conduct ourselves in the necessary manner to accommodate. Because that's another thing this book talks about,